Hello, and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, the weekly podcast that revisits, reviews, and ridicules some of the world's weirdest animated series. Coming to you from Hawk Haven, I'll be your host, Dave Trumbore. And joining me today, as always, you hear him giggling. He's partly metal, partly real. He's Sean Paul Ellis. How are you today, sir?
David, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Joining us as well from the planet of the mimes, it's Matt Barron. What's up, buddy?
Beep.
Yeah, you won't be able to hear Matt this episode. He's miming everything, so it's going to be a little rough in the audio
Mimes
podcast.
don't fucking make sounds.
They don't make sense
Oh.
either, and I never want to visit an entire planet of them. And if you know where Planet of the Mimes is from, you know we're talking Silverhawks today. Yes, my friends, Silverhawks, the second installment from the Rankin Bass Productions, second of three shows that we'll hopefully be talking about here. Before we get too much into it, I'm going to turn back over to Sean, and his real half is going to give you some history on this show. Take it away.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Silverhawks is an American animated television series. Again, as Dave mentioned, this is another Rankin Bass. This is the second of the three that's sort of in this Rankin Bass trilogy that they have that's going on. We've discussed Tiger Sharks, now Silverhawks, and shortly we will do Thundercats. This was distributed in 1986 by Lorimar Telepictures. 65 episodes.
Yeah,
this
buddy.
This ran for pretty much one season again. I love the fact that these like 86 to 89 television shows went like 65 something epidodes. I
Just
think this is
pure concentrated insanity. It's great.
This is such a fun discovery for me. I don't know. It's crazy. But I mean, like, this show went pretty much every day from September of 1986 to December 5th of 1986, and that was all 65 episodes. They just, like, if you were thinking about, like, binge watching back in the day, this was, like, the original binge watching was this space madness. So, fun note about this is that we are doing this in reverse order in terms of like when these things came out. So it was originally Thundercats,
Right.
then Silverhawks, and then finally Tiger Sharks.
We're saving the best for last. Maybe.
Yeah, we really are.
Sure, we planned it that way too, right?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
We thought
Question
we
mark?
thought this through. Don't
Yeah,
worry
totally,
about
you
it.
guys. We're professionals.
Thanks, Joe Gallo, for kicking us off on the right foot.
Thanks, Joe.
Or the wrong foot, depending on how you view Tiger Sharks. So because of the success of Thundercats, they just basically, Rankin Bass was like, how can we copy paste the success that we had on Thundercats? And they were like, well, we can do that in almost every aspect of the show, including a majority of the voice cast. So yes, if there are a lot of things that sound, I don't know, just like Lino or Mumra or anybody else that's in this show, you are 100% correct. They are the same exact voice actors. And they're not, at some points, really even trying
Nope.
to kind of hide or disguise the fact. I don't know, if you were to think about this, maybe this is the sort of the spiritual successor to Thundercats. It's I don't know, maybe it's the aura or the essence of those Thundercats carried on as partly human, partly real, partly metal, partly, this series.
That was the original description, by the way. Partly, ugh.
It was too long. They had to really just cut it
Yeah,
down.
had to shorten it up.
So, in a very similar case that they did with Thundercats, Silverhawks, one is a comic book that was published by Marvel's imprint Star Comics, and currently Warner Brothers Pictures purchased the franchise in 1989. They own the rights to the series. In fact, there was actually a reboot of Silverhawks.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that was maybe a couple years ago.
What?
Yeah, dude.
When was this? I don't remember this.
What?
I don't remember this.
I'll do some quick searching.
Do some dig it up. Yeah.
Yeah, bing it up.
I don't think I said bing it up. Maybe in my... I'm a little under the weather here, folks, so if I sound a little funny, it's because I can't breathe through any orifice. So yeah, I might have said bing it up. While Sean's doing that, let's turn it over to Baron, who's going to let you know what this craziness was all about.
So the bionic policeman, Commander Stargazer, worst name ever, recruited the Silverhawks, who was a team of 4. They are heroes who, as Sean said, are partly metal and partly real, to fight the evil, I shit you not, Monstar,
So good.
an escaped alien mob boss who transforms into an enormous armor-plated creature with the aid of Limbo's Moonstar.
Yeah, makes sense, right? Every single part of that makes sense. Yeah?
Comes together flawlessly.
Yeah, this is perfect. I think I left a couple things out of your show notes here. I love the fact that Monstar, while he is an alien mob boss, he's also a quintillionaire. Quintillionaire.
Yep.
Yeah. This takes place in like the 29th century, I think. Like
It
28.
is. It takes.
Yeah.
It is. You are 100% correct.
Woo,
It is the 29th
points.
century.
A quintillion. And what's the exchange rate?
Yeah, quintillionaire.
Because that could, if it's a like quintillionaire in like pesos, you know, not a lot
I
of
don't know,
money.
man. We'll have to see what the 29th century brings along. Not sure. Not sure where we're going to be at by that point. Sean, did you find anything on that supposed Silverhawks reboot? I know there was
No,
a Thundercats one.
There was. I confused it. I got
Oh, okay.
way too excited
I
about
gotcha.
something. I saw a fan art that was really well done. And
Yeah, there's a lot of it out there. We will talk about some of that fan art later on in the show.
Oh, will we?
Oh
Yeah,
boy, we're gonna
buddy.
we're gonna make
buddy.
that a regular part of the show. I think just to see. Yeah, we'll get there.
If we
We'll
can,
get there.
if we can creep each other out with Roll 34.
Man, we've known each other a long time. There's not a whole lot left for us to creep each other out with. You, dear listeners, on the other hand, might be a little bit more squeamish than we are. There's some interesting stuff. Some of it's partly metal. Some of it's partly real.
Oof.
Oof. Now,
Give me-
speaking of that,
give me-
So
speaking of
what
that,
you're saying is there's metal dicks.
well, I wasn't gonna say it, but there it is.
Yeah,
Bald
that's
face
kinda how it
dicks.
works.
Yep, there it is. Speaking of partly metal and partly real, this is an opportunity for us to turn it over to Sean once again. If you're ready,
Oh, yeah.
If you're ready, buddy, he's gonna give us his
Yeah, let's do
own spin on the Silverhawks theme song. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're about to find out.
All right. Let's do. I'd like to do a dramatic reading
Oh, nice.
of the Silverhawks theme song. Baron, may I have some assistance from you? And where there would be Silverhawks, can I get you to triumphantly chant Silverhawks?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got
I
it.
begrudgingly.
Totally got
I
it.
will begrudgingly agree. To
You've
this.
been waiting your whole
Okay.
life for this moment.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Here we go. Tallyhawk! Wings of silver, nerves of steel,
Silverhawks.
partly metal, partly real.
Silverhawks.
Soaring through the highway of the heavens in their flight, Silverhawks, a rainbow in the night. Wings of silver, nerves of steel,
Silverhawks.
partly metal, partly real.
Silverhawks.
Silverhawks. And scene.
Bravo,
Cool.
bravo,
Ah.
my friends. That is well done. That might be
Thank
the
you.
best thing we've ever done on this show. That is very well done.
Wow, if that's the best thing we've
So-
ever done.
I would listen
Yeah, we're in
and or
trouble.
watch that in a dimly lit studio in a rundown industrial part of town, and I would pay $10 admission. But lucky for you, this is free. So let's break down this theme song because it's full of craziness. It starts out
Yeah,
now.
I was actually.
Look, this
I've
thing.
been thinking. I've been.
Yeah.
Well, Dave.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure this out. Like, I like. Like Silverhawks for me is like a great big oof, and like I've been sitting around for like the last hour
Yeah.
trying to figure out how I want to. Like how I want us to like enter in and approach the Silverhawk
Yeah,
universe.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I think we got to
Well,
start
let's-
with this theme song. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
Yeah.
let's literally take it from the top down and talk about why metal hair needs to exist.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my questions because at first I was just like, why does Steelheart have metal hair? And then I looked around, I'm like, why does everyone have metal hair? It's very strange. Right? It's very stylish, but if you ever want to change that style, you have to go get schmelted a little bit, and they got to change it around for you. So you got to go to the blacksmith.
Is that like a
Is that like a Long Island Jewish blacksmith?
Yeah, it's like you can go to the deli and get your metal hair redone at the same time. You get a schmelt. It's
Oh
it's a
boy.
2-for-1. It's a good deal. Yes. It's a good deal. Man, so when I remember watching the show, I only remember bits and pieces of it, kind of like filtering through my memory. I definitely remember Monstar, who we'll talk about in a second. But I remember this theme song. It's been in my head all fucking day too, and it's been driving me crazy. But I always thought they said tally ho in the beginning, like you do for like a fox hunt.
I did too.
Yeah, I never knew
Yeah,
it was the
I
name of
heard that
bird.
as well.
So it's Tally Hawk, for those who
Right.
thought the same as we did, that it was Tally Ho. It's Tally Hawk, and that is the name of the Hawk character, the first one that you see on screen. And I will tease you with this right now. My favorite character on the show is Tally Hawk, and we will talk about him later on. And I will.
It's really not as much of a tease as it is just like a flat out.
It's just a fact and a statement, and I will stand by it for
like
life.
here's the thing: if it's a tease, like I hope you kind of like maybe lifted up your shirt a little
I
bit.
did. Are we not doing video
Do you
podcast this time,
wait,
guys?
no, we are not.
Oh, we're not. Ah, shit.
I mean,
Well.
I'm watching, but I'm also in a creepy, poorly lit
Post-industrial
area,
part of town? Yeah,
paying
exactly.
$10,000 to watch this
Ooh,
shit.
10,000.
So,
Yeah.
Guys,
so keep
making
keep
bank.
going. Keep going.
Well, that's how much you got to pay in the German Titty Hawk clubs.
Oh boy, there has to be some of those. Has to be some of those. Okay, so we got Tallyhawk to start with. Now I will give you this next part. Okay, wings of silver, nerves of steel. That's kind of cool. I'll allow that. Okay.
I think it's great.
I think it's great. It's great stuff. Silver wings. That's cool. Nerves of steel. Okay, these are tough guys. They got silver wings. They're flying around. That's all we need to know. Baron did a great job with the dramatic reading of Silverhawks. I really felt the power, the emotion behind that. Fantastic. Now, here's where I have a problem. Partly metal, partly real. This is where I have a problem for a number of reasons. One, whoever came up with this was so enamored with this phrase that they use it non-fucking stop. It is in everything. It is in the exposition.
Yeah.
It's in the narration. It's in the actual dialogue. In multiple episodes.
They're partly metal, partly
There's a
real.
point where the narrator is, or somebody is just like, well, at this point in time in the 29th century, we can't send 100% humans up into space. What we can do is
Yep.
send someone who's partly metal and partly real.
So here was
Ugh.
here was my question. All right, like here was my like, do the people who are doing this procedure do they understand science?
I don't
like,
think so.
In the 29th century,
Super
were they
science.
just like, yeah, super science. Like, were they just so? Like, have we gotten to the point where like we're encapsulating words so much that they were just like, oh yeah, like people are real.
Anything else is metal.
Anything else is metal. So, like,
Fuck.
you're either partly metal or you're partly real.
Yeah.
Like this makes total
But
sense.
Silverhawks
Like,
were both, which is how you know they were cutting edge
Oh.
tech in 1986/2839, whatever it was.
yeah.
I don't understand why they
So-
had, so like we'll talk about the characters in a second, but like all of them, like we said, had metal hair. They had exposed like human faces, but they could just like swipe over their face like you swipe across the face of an iPhone, and it would just bring up their mask. And then for reasons that I don't think were ever really
Yeah,
explained.
but they also had like half real, like their forearms.
Exactly.
were
That's
also...
all they ever
Yeah,
had
their
that was
forearms
real,
always.
from like the fucking elbow down to their fingertips. It was from
Yeah,
what I
and
saw,
that's why
never
I-
explained.
I saw that and I was like, okay, so we can replace all the internal organs and their incredibly complex procedures.
Yep.
Hands. Like metal hands is where we draw the line.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
You can
Dexterity
have
in the
one.
29th century.
Yeah, you can have one, just not two, unless you're the
No,
Copper
I mean,
Kid.
like-
yeah.
Here's the thing is like, all right, so I mean, I'm assuming presumably like the government entity at
Sure.
the time, like this interplanetary force
Right.
or whatever
Intergalactic,
that's like on Earth,
yeah.
they were just like, look, we need to send something to combat Monstar and this problem of the mob
Yeah.
in deep space.
Space mob, yeah.
In limbo.
Yep.
All right.
That's a
They're
galaxy's
like-
name, by the way, not like a metaphysical state of being. That is
Right.
a galaxy named Limbo.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, also, it's kind of both. I mean,
It
like,
is.
they're not really alive and they're not really dead.
This is
It's just
actually
sort of like
this is the end of
people.
Lost. This was what the end of Lost was supposed to be. The island folk, whoever survives, they turn into
Silverhawks.
Silverhawks. Yeah. Jack is basically Quicksilver at this
Wait,
point.
that's what happened?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Pretty much.
Yep. straight from Damon Lindelof.
Yeah.
Big Silverhawks fan.
So
Huge.
so the big thing is like they were just like, so look, like we have to combat these problems in limbo.
Yeah.
This is serious fucking business, guys.
Right.
All right? Like let's get on it. Like let's get pumped about making more of these like silver steel human monsters.
Yep.
Okay?
Let's do it.
But I don't but here's the thing. I don't want to pay a lot of money for
Yeah,
it.
it's like, well, okay, boss, we can make 3 of them completely bionic. They're going to kick ass, 100% metal, not partly real at all. How's that sound? What do you think, guys?
Great. That sounds great.
That sounds great.
That sounds
However, but
what about,
yeah,
what
can we
ab-
get one
what
more?
about the other 2 that you're gonna make?
Yeah, can we get 1 or 2 more? We mined all these asteroids. We've only got so much silver floating around. How would you feel? 75, 76% metal. 24, 25%, like a forearm
good.
maybe. You want a forearm? Nobody uses a forearm, right?
Oh, like everybody. I mean, forearms are good.
All right, sweet.
Like, here's the thing.
There it is.
Here's the thing. Like, it's gonna be their real skin, right?
Yes, exactly.
Correct me if I'm.
No, you're right.
Okay, cool.
We can't do
No,
artificial skin. We can make that shit
well,
metal.
Yeah.
No artificial skin other than that.
It's just like a bronzing process. They're just dipping them.
They're
in
just
bronze, right?
that's what it is. It's the Achilles heel. They're holding them by the
They're taking-
forearm and just dipping them to a vat of fucking molten silver and pulling them out. Done.
It's the same. It's the same process that like our parents used like with our baby shoes in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like is what they fucking used to make silver.
Guys, this is how I was baptized.
Dude, here's exactly the image I just got.
Yeah.
Like, Sean, your parents dipping your baby shoes into bronze and just going, silver, like under the breath, like really low.
I mean, my
priceless.
mom did that, except then she threw it at me, and she was like, "Tally Hawk," and I was like,
That's how we learn, Sean. That's how we
"How
learn.
we learn." How we learn.
Man.
Here's the message: throw stuff at your kids.
Yeah.
That's how they become
Moral
good
of the
members
story.
society.
Moral of the story.
Um,
We're only halfway through the intro right now.
Here's
By the way.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing. So like, it's gonna be their own skin, all right?
Right.
But like, they are also going to be in like deep space.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I'm sorry, I'm not a genius, but I have to at least think that like, your human flesh
Mm-hmm.
in deep
Go on.
space where the temperature is like
Not.
crazy
Yes.
is not
Is
null.
It's null.
Is null.
Null and void.
Right?
Yeah.
This is where they measure it in Kelvin.
Right.
Like,
Because it's fucking
like,
cold.
because it's fucking freezing. Like, I would think that like those parts of the body, like they're not getting any blood anymore.
Nope.
Right? All right. Like they did an X-ray in episode 1, and they're just like joints and like mechanisms
Yeah.
like inside of their body. Like it's not like they were just like, oh, well, we put blood pumping through their. They replaced Steelheart's
Place was
heart.
like, oh my god. So we need to talk about that because that.
So like, but
Man.
I mean, here's the thing:
Yeah.
is like, it's not like it's pumping blood in it, and the guy's like, "Are they gonna be all right?" And he's like, "Ah, yeah, they'll be fucking fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're still way within budget." Like, some
Yeah,
asshole
exactly.
Was updating like a column in a spreadsheet, and he was just like, mechanical heart. Yeah, all right, cool. This pivot table says.
Can I tell you my favorite part of
Tell you
that
what,
though?
we're still way under budget. General, can I re-chrome your bunker?
Yeah, well, yeah, why not?
Say, I got all this leftover forearm skin metal laying around. Notice I said forearm skin, kids. Don't get
Yes.
graphic. But my favorite part of that interaction was once the scientist, doctor, random guy off the street, tells the general, like, oh yeah, they'll be fine. The general he's kind of pleased that they're going to be fine, doesn't really care. He's like, oh, well then I guess they've really earned their nicknames that he just gave them.
Yep.
Because their nicknames were Steelheart and Steel Will. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, now their nicknames are even more fitting. It's like, fuck you, you fat bastard. Just go back to wherever you came from. Anyway, I want to get through this intro theme song because I am particularly in love with the next couple of lines. Are we okay with that before we go on to the character?
Yeah, let's do
All
this.
right.
Let's do this.
Okay, so again,
Um,
soaring through the highway of the heavens in their flight. That's majestic. It's beautiful. You can tell that these guys are on the side of good. That's fine. That's fine, right?
I mean, here's the thing:
Yeah.
they're bringing up Roman Catholic ideals of heaven in this, and then they're referencing limbo before. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I gotta think maybe there's some type of a tie.
I gotta
don't
say,
really know.
maybe they're fans of Michael Landon too, with the Highway to Heaven.
Ooh, you are right.
Yeah, there's
You are right, sir.
literally 2 of the 12 or 20 people that listen to the show may have gotten that reference, but you are my best friends if you did. Okay, so that's good. That's cool. Now,
The next line is my favorite, though.
Holy shit. Okay, I'll let you say it. You already said it once, but it's your favorite, so take it. Take it away.
Silverhawks, a rainbow in the night.
Now, what the fuck is that? Like, on the screen, they show the jet fly straight up, and a rainbow in space just follows behind it like their jet trail. Like, their exhaust fumes are fucking rainbows.
And here's the thing, and here's the amazing thing,
Shoot.
is that if you thought to yourself, like, oh, well, maybe the Mirage,
Yeah.
the vehicle that they fly, like, for all their missions, like, oh, maybe the Mirage does that. It has, like, some jet stream that comes out of
Sure.
it that is a rainbow in
Yeah.
the night. That's the only time that it ever happens, dum-dums.
Yeah, you
like,
never
that's
see it again.
Like, if you were thinking that, like, this was going to be, like, every episode was going to be, like, some Pride March, like, yeah, it is. But only in the theme song.
Yeah,
and then
that's
it's never
it.
talked about
For like
again.
30 seconds, and that's it. Your pride's over and done with. Can we talk about the Mirage, though, for a second, too, before we even talk about the title characters? Because I don't understand how and why it works.
Yeah, let's get into this.
How...
It's...
like just the engineering of it. First of all, it doesn't matter how it works. Why they chose it to do the thing that it does makes zero sense. You know what I'm talking about? The camouflage.
like going invisible?
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
got this
yeah.
weird camouflage thing where it only works if the guy in the cockpit, who we'll talk about in a second, if he detaches from the ship, flies roughly 100 yards in front of it, and shoots like weird reverse tasers at the other part of the ship, then that part goes invisible while he is still plain to see just flying around. I don't understand the point of it. It never made any sense to me. No one is left on that part of the ship. There's nothing there. There's no one there. Why is that a thing?
Dave, I don't... Dave,
Answer
I don't
this
know if
question.
You heard me sigh
Yeah.
very deeply.
Yeah.
There's no answer.
Baron, do you have an answer for this?
There's
Any possible reason for this thing to exist the way it does? Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, the
No.
whole thing about the ship. All right, here's another thing about the ship that really confused the shit out of me.
Shoot.
Is the fact that the little compartments that they're in.
Yeah.
They have little like handles in them.
Yeah.
And then when they shoot out of them, okay,
Yeah.
like high school physics education time, because that's all I remember.
Well, that's
is-
more than the writers of this show had. So.
When, yeah, exactly. When you come out of that ship,
Yeah.
Especially in space, you were probably traveling like literally thousands of miles an
Yeah,
hour.
you're fucking flying.
Yeah.
you are
On
moving.
top of that, like, so, and then if you tried to slow down, which of course you couldn't do with your fucking silver wings in space where there is no air, when you did slow down,
Impossible.
it would, like with those little like heel jets they have,
Yes, thank
it
you.
would take you years
Yep.
to get down to a usable speed.
Oh shit! Overshot that entire battle. I guess I'll swing around this planet and see you in a couple of weeks.
Oh god damn it!
The physics or lack thereof in the show is amazing. There's a ship that disappears, but no one's on it. And then how the fuck do they find it again? I don't know. But it's like, even the ship itself, okay, so there are 4 Silverhawks and then 1 pilot Silverhawk, right? Or no, there's 4. Yeah, that's
Which
right.
I like. Yeah. There are 4 Silverhawks, and then there.
Colonel
so
Bluegrass.
so there's the 4 that we're talking about. The
Right.
4 that actually have wings that were
Right.
not built on a shoestring budget. Were Silverhawk, Steelheart, Steel Will, and the Copper Kid.
The first one's
the-
Quicksilver, by the way. You said Silverhawk, but that's fine. It's
Oh,
Quicksilver.
did I? I'm sorry,
Yep, no, it's cool.
Quicksilver.
They're all
Jesus.
crazy, shitty names, so
Oof.
it's fine.
The pilot for this, which this is what I'm getting amped up for.
Yeah.
This nightmare of a trope. Lieutenant Colonel Bluegrass.
Yep.
He has no wings. He has to pilot the Mirage.
Yeah.
Everybody else has these wings that comes out of their
Armpits.
underarm.
Yeah.
Like, which I don't know. They look. I'm sorry. They look more like fucking flying squirrels or like a sugar glider than they do actual hawks.
They
You know,
they
I
don't look like
believe
hawks
this
at
is
all.
a-
No, yeah.
This is a clear-cut case of buy 4, get the 5th free.
Yeah.
Exactly. Buy 4 sugar gliders. Get this random cowboy. What is this that we're buying right now? I don't know how they sold this to the
Yeah.
studio. Everybody must have been on shrooms, man, because this... I actually, look, I like the fact that this show existed in the past, because it feels like today this would never, pardon the pun, get off the ground, because it's just so nuts, and it's not well done. not at all. But it's a lot of fun to watch just because it's just like, what is happening on this screen? It's just so crazy, and it doesn't seem like stuff like that really gets done today. Stuff today is more like absurd crazy than like just out there imaginative crazy. I don't know.
I mean, like, you think about, like, okay, because I think about out there crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I think about out there crazy that's well done. I think Adventure Time.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
That show.
There's a lot of absurd humor in there, though. Like.
Yeah. Like, Adventure Time works on multiple levels.
Sure.
Like, it is a little bit of insanity, but it's also very well thought out, and it has a very rich history in terms of what's like within the universe of the show. This show, Silverhawks, is really just a copy paste of fucking Thundercats, and like, and I agree with you. I enjoy the fact that this exists,
right?
And I had fun catching up on it,
right?
And like, I will probably, like, I would not mind, like, actually, like, buying like a season of this, or like sitting down and watching it a little bit more. Like, some of it was really fun, but there were a lot of like glaring problems that I had with this that just really, I think, prevented me from enjoying this in a way that I did when I was like 6-7 years old.
Exactly. When it was just like, I mean, the weirdest thing was how they even presented these characters to you. So like, Sean mentioned them, but in literally the first episode, none of them talk. The only one that talks is Bluegrass, who Sean mentioned. That's it.
Yes.
And none of the other ones talk. They're just flying around, shooting stuff, doing these drills, and Bluegrass is commanding them. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe it was like their pilot thing. Again, no pun intended. Maybe it was their pilot episode. No, I really didn't mean it. Their pilot episode, and they were just like, we got Larry Kenny hanging around. Let's see if he can do like 15 minutes of dialogue, but nobody else is here.
I feel like they were still like contract negotiations.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look, we're trying to get Peter Newman. We got Bob McFadden, but he's trying to work with Maggie Wheeler. Look, we got this other crazy person doing this other shit.
Come on, guys. It's called Sugar Gliders.
Look, I got my cousin who's got a slide whistle, and we'll make a character for him called the Copper Kid. Like, we'll do that. How's that sound?
I don't know if you knew this,
but keyboard.
But Krusty the Clown was originally part of the Silverhawks production team. I don't know if you were aware of that, but yeah, originally part of that. It would have helped. It would have helped. They have we need to talk about these characters. So we've got Colonel Bluegrass. All right, he still has a shitload of silver on his body. So he is still technically partly metal and partly real. He's just slightly more real and slightly less metal than the rest of the Silverhawks. He's got no wings, but he does have a sweet keytar that shoots, I don't know why, but it shoots like bars of music into space that apparently have either zero effect on things or a completely fucking devastating effect, depending on the time of day, I guess. I don't know.
And here's the thing that I noticed about Colonel Bluegrass is the fact that if you're playing the guitar and you have one Android hand, you better be able to fucking shred. And like, Bluegrass is not going to be the music for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be power metal through and through.
Just industrial, just melt your face off.
Just fucking riffs. Night Ranger, just like riffing the hell out of this crap, and like, he just plays this like lame music, and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, he does. And he's sort of so he pilots the Mirage. That's why we started talking about him. The other Silverhawks are at various points in the Mirage. Now, when you think about like a team of spacebound fighters in like a spaceship, a space fight, you'd think they'd have like, I don't know, maybe a common area they could all just kind of like walk around in, like Star Trek. They'd have all this living space and these crew quarters and the mess hall and all that stuff. No,
Dave, it's called 10 forward.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Explain it. Word.
Explain it. Explain yourself.
Wait, you really want me to explain that?
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
In Star Trek: The Next Generation, 10 forward, like the bar where Guinan was on deck 10, the forward section.
Okay,
so they called it 10 forward.
Don't say that like it's a thing that I should know. I have no idea what that is, but
How
now
the
I
fuck do you not know that?
Because I don't know.
I didn't know it either.
That's good to know. But yeah, stuff like that, like things that people need to live, you would think would be on this ship. Nope, you're just shoved into a coffin with handles and then launched out into space whenever we need you.
Get in your coffin.
Get in your coffin till I need you. It's so strange. Who designed this thing?
And look, it was one of those things where like it looks like it was clearly designed for like efficiency's sake. Like they were just like,
like you said, they were on a budget. They used up all their fucking metal on these idiots.
Well, Dave, like they're only partly human. They're not eating. Like they're not eating anything.
True.
They're not humans. Like it's not like they had to be like, oh, like, oh, it's not like when we go camping and we're just like, oh, we gotta get food and we gotta get tents and we gotta get like wood and other crap. Like, they're just like, hey, do we have fuel? Cool, get your coffin and go into limbo. Like, that's it.
That's true. I
Like,
mean, they are very much just like bionic creatures, which explains why they didn't talk a lot in the beginning. They eventually have more personality and stuff to them, and we'll kind of explain them. We're at about the halfway point. I definitely want to start talking about the episode that we watched, which is just called The Origin Story, which, Jesus. But I think that's a good way to actually just talk about these characters and how they kind of interact with each other. Because that episode is just straight narration from the beginning for a good 15 minutes and just walking you right through this thing. It's just...
So, like, the thing that like blew my mind was that, like, so the interesting thing about just this show is that, like, this first episode, they give you like a crazy intro that like outlines and details all of the characters like in full, like all of the heroes and all of the villains, and you're just like, okay, cool, like that was a lot of information. Thank you very much. I now understand what's going on a little bit. And then they just kind of like throw you into this space prison.
Yeah.
With like Monstar.
Well, the first thing that so yeah, like Sean said, the first 5 minutes or so, literally is just the narrator saying like, here's these people, they're created for this task, here it is. Okay, now we'll get to the story. It's
like if you were to go like a corporate retreat, and everybody stood in a circle, and you're like, hey, let's have everybody say their name and what they do. And you're like, hi, I'm Bob from accounting. Hi, I'm Monstar. I take over planets. Every time Monstar talks, it sounds like he just has a chicken wing stuck in his throat.
He probably has a whole chicken stuck in his throat. The dude's enormous.
Everything is like everything. If you were to run like a marathon and then just like in a very like husky, like throated voice, like, hey guys, how's it going? Like that's Monstar to a T.
To a T. Hey, you know another way to explain the Silverhawks to people who maybe don't quite get it yet?
Sure.
The first super androids with the minds of men and the muscles of machines. That's their intro to them. And I literally just looked at my computer screen and I was just like, great, that's great. Let's just keep going. So at this point, yeah, we go to Hawk Haven, which I mentioned at the beginning of the show. I don't understand what it is. It looks kind of like a moon. Maybe it's a space station, but it's definitely where the Silverhawks live. That's like their HQ. And there's just like this one lonely, bald, old model of a cyborg up there just hanging around with nobody to talk to. And that's Commander Stargazer, who I think
kind of sad.
I think his old friends call him Gaze, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. I'm pretty sure I read that in the notes somewhere that they just call him Gaze, which he probably doesn't like.
All right.
That's the 80s. It was a different world. Different world. So yeah, so here's the inciting incident. So Commander Stargazer is trying to contact Earth, which is God knows how far away from this place. He's kind of breaking up. There's some really terrible dialogue, this back and forth, because he's like, "We need help. Monstar has escaped." Yeah.
He's like an old gumshoe.
He is. He's like
if you were to put like a crappy cyborg gumshoe, like, you know, in space and just make him completely like isolated and alone. Like even the door to his office is like a private detective's door.
Yeah, I expected to see like a silhouette up there. Yeah. Like a lady's silhouette. He also reminds me of like the old Perry White from the old Christopher Reeve Superman shows. It's kind of that like gruff, kind of father figure, but also like the voice of authority. He's basically the voice of authority.
All right,
so that's what he is. So he is also our voice of just like exposition. Like he literally says to the camera, "Okay, here's what happened." Because the guys on Earth are like, "I don't understand. Give me the whole fucking story. I don't know what you're saying, idiot." So he's just like, "All right, here's what happened." This was great though, because at this point we are introduced to Monstar just right out of the gate, and I loved it. I loved when we get to see the villains, because I don't know, there's just something about seeing that villain for the first time and knowing that they're obviously the villain, and just waiting to see what they do. And Monstar was pretty cool, actually. I liked how he started off. Did you guys like it?
Yeah.
Did you guys like it?
Yeah, no. Aside from him having the obvious laziest name in this entire show.
Yeah, exactly.
And also the weird tomato eye.
Yeah, he had a rotten tomato eye, and he had a singular fang that ran right down the middle of his cleft palate, which I did not understand. I mean, I'd be pissed too if I had not only a cleft palate and a rotten tomato eye, but just one giant fang that kept stabbing me in the tooth every time I tried to talk, or in the tongue.
Or orthodontia.
Yeah, man.
or the fact that like every time I was to change into my next form,
Yeah.
my hair would basically shoot through my armor. I'm not exact. My red mane.
My
would
red
just,
spiky armor.
would just billow through this tough spiky armored plating that just encased my body.
Okay, so let's talk about this because there are a lot of little gears to how this thing kind of fits together. None of them make sense. None of them are explained. Monstar is being imprisoned at the Penal Colony 10 or Penal Planet 10, whatever they called it. He's in this like deep, deep dark prison, which for some reason they still give him like window shades, like he can still see outside into the depths of space, literally like a foot away from him. There's these two kind of like, one's robotic, one's kind of like reptilian looking guards that are in the process of trying to shut down all the windows, I swear to God, trying to close all the windows on this penal colony because there is what's known as a Moonstar burst outside. So the Moonstar burst, we don't really know what it is. It's got some crazy power, but Monstar feeds off of that energy, and that allows him to do his Mumra-like transformation. He's even got a little speech that goes with it too, which is fun.
Yeah,
that's fun for him. So, long story short, he literally just punches his way through the window, which I loved. There's this metal shutter that comes out. I love that.
Like it was a lot of fun to watch, but I'm sitting there watching this and like obviously this guy, Monstar. We should mention this. It's spelled MON asterisk capital STAR. Like obviously this was a big career-defining catch for Commander Stargazer.
Oh yeah, huge.
All right.
And he escaped once before, and Stargazer caught him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So like you would think that maybe you wouldn't put him in a cell that had any fucking access to this Moonstar.
Put him at the core of this planet with Dragonstein and leave him the fuck alone. Throwback.
Like, but what? Thank you.
Yeah.
Dragonstar or Dragonstein. Like,
their powers combined to make Dragonstar.
Yes. But like they put him in the best possible.
Yeah, he's got like a
situation.
suite at the penal colony. He's got like a window view onto space. It's great.
And somebody at some point they were just like, "Uh-oh, Moonstar's coming." Somebody, get turn the little knob on the Venetian blind.
Exactly.
Shut it down.
And that's the other thing too. Turn the manual wheel crank on the 29th century space prison.
We got a space prison with all these bells and whistles, and we got robot guards and reptile guards. We need to turn that old ship's wheel crank to get that window closed. But it was great though, because he obviously just busts through this thing. He couldn't like lift it though, so I mean, we are making fun of it, but that worked. I mean, the shutter closed, and it was like a foot thick piece of like iron metal that closed it, and he was just so like raw that he just punched his way through it until a little tiny glimmer of light shot right into his rotten tomato eye, and it gave him enough strength to turn into. Does he have another name?
He just like.
It's just still Monstar, right?
Yeah, it's just Monstar.
He doesn't even have another name.
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, so he gets done like Uma Thurma like as the bride punched.
Yeah, right out of the coffin.
Proverbial coffin.
Yeah.
He gets out, and then what does he do? He just throws himself into space.
Yep. And that was my favorite part. Okay, so I will say he's got this little line that he says, just like Mum-Ra did. Mum-Ra used to say, "Ancient spirits of evil," or whatever. Mum-Ra, or Monstar says, Jesus, Moonstar of Limbo, give me the might, the muscle, the menace of Monstar, which is his name anyway. So he just turns into like this heightened version of himself, which, like Sean said, is this crimson red spiky body armor that just blasts through his regular like hair and skin and turns him into this just like this freak creature of red spiky armor.
And that's got to be super uncomfortable.
It's no wonder he's so pissed off all the time.
Gotta be so uncomfortable.
Oh. But then, like Sean said, he literally just hurls himself into space. Now, that was the best, because once you're out there, ain't shit you can do. He doesn't have any little booster rockets. There's nothing to grab onto.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, and he does.
Does he have booster
He
rockets?
have those elbow rockets.
Oh, he had elbow rockets?
Yeah,
oh, that's right. I forgot he had elbow rockets, because he uses them in a battle against who? Right out of the gates? Oh, do you remember?
What was the name of that fucking
Are you kidding me?
Skyrunner, old friend,
that's
it's
what it
me, your master. I missed you. These are things that Monstar says to a space squid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who then
Let's
tries
be-
to
let-
kill him.
Yes, which
Yeah.
was great. He just blasts him. I loved it. The squid
And
just
then-
up out of nowhere. It's just like, oh, this spiky shit again. I'm just gonna blast him.
And then it can't. And then at some point, his like rotten tomato eye shoots
Yeah.
this like beam out of it, and he says, and Monstar then says my favorite line of the episode,
Ooh.
which he just goes, "You cannot escape the light star." And I was like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Nope. But it's true. He couldn't escape it. And what happens when it hits you if you're a space squid, like Skyrunner?
It turns you into like a weaponized space.
Yeah, it
squid.
turns into like a motor squid. Because why not?
Motor squid.
Motor squid, why not?
Squid. Jesus.
What else are you gonna do? So that's how he gets around. So it's a good thing that this space squid happened to be floating by at that particular time. Yeah. So then Monstar, again, we're still stuck on the villain here, and this isn't just us like taking our time with the villain. This is the show, just being like, all right, hang out with this villain for a while because he's nuts and he's crazy and we spend a lot of money on him.
Yeah.
Then he basically just frees all of his mobster friends, and they go through this laundry list of, it's almost like trading cards. Like they show the guy, he's
No,
got a little
it's-
animation scene. Yeah,
Dave, it's the exact same thing that they showed at the beginning
Exactly.
of the episode. Like they explain to you all the villains up front because they say they're like the musical power of Melodia.
Oh, can I tell you my favorite part about that? Okay, so first they introduce this guy named Molek Ular, and he looks terrible, and he just looks like a pile of marbles at first, and they're like, he can change into any shape. It's Monstar's undercover guy. And then this next part, I think, is it Stargazer that's describing these guys, like to the folks on Earth? I think it's
I
Stargazer.
think so, yeah.
Because he's like, and then we have the female Melodia. I was just like, the female? What do you, the female? Like, that's the best you can use to describe her. We go like,
Yeah.
oh, we got this token female over here. I just liked it. I thought that was hilarious. Melodia, terrible. Her and Bluegrass are going to get it on, though. That's my prophecy.
Oh,
Is that-
yikes.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. But he's just got, like,
Now,
this weird
that
assortment.
is the Rule 34 that you saw, is what I'm.
I didn't
taken from
see
your
that
implication
one. I
there.
didn't see that one. I saw mostly Silverhawk stuff. I didn't see a whole lot of villain stuff. I'll have to look deeper.
I mean, that's really the only reason like Melodia and Bluegrass like have weapons that are like musical, and
Yeah.
that they really just put them in there just to have them
Yeah,
clash with
that's it.
like with each other. So like it makes sense that like there'd be a little something going
Oh,
on.
yeah. But nothing else about the show makes sense because the rest of this mob is just like, they were just coming up with ideas like, what's a cool character to make? Okay, we'll put him in space and he's part of the mob. Like this giant, like, metal
Yeah.
bull creature called Mumbo Jumbo. Windhammer, who's like
Yep.
this crazy Nordic troll with a tuning fork. Like,
Yeah.
Shouldn't he have been Soundhammer?
you'd think.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for all that wind in
Oh,
space, you
there was no
jackass. You
wind
are
in space,
worthless.
yeah.
Eh. Hey,
Well,
hey.
I mean, like, the tuning fork controls weather, but I'm like, you're in fucking space.
Yeah, at least land on a planet first, you jackass.
There's no real there's no weather like patterns or systems. It's just in like deep space. So like when they have this battle in like the second episode, he's just like pulling lightning out of nothing.
Yeah, so that Sean makes a great point, not necessarily just for the weather, but because they don't have a battle until the second episode. The first episode is all just exposition and introduction and people getting their teams together. That's all it is. The Silverhawks don't talk. They're down on space getting put together except for their arms. This is where we learn more about them. They're all wearing tracksuits for some reason before they're turned into metal, except for the cowboy who's dressed like a cowboy. And then the general walks into the lab and he just gives them these code names. And now's probably a good time to talk about all their different code names. So we talked about Quicksilver. Now, the interesting ones I think are the twins, who apparently have this like empathic link. It's the female is Steelheart and her brother Steel Will. I don't know why Steel Will is basically wearing a metal football uniform, but what are you gonna do?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. I don't understand their outfits, their uniforms. They have like these tiny little triangular holes. You guys talk about that for a little bit because they're like half laser blasters and half boosters, right?
Wait,
Yeah,
where?
the shoulder laser thing was kind of weirding me out because it just didn't make any sense. Like, what? Like, why shoulder? The shoulder is not exactly a particularly maneuverable part of the body.
No, it's like if
You
I
would
rotate
think
this
that
shit
you'd
the
want,
wrong
like-
way, I'm gonna blast my face off. First of all,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you would think like hands or yeah, I don't know, anything but the shoulder.
Well-
And it's a tiny
Well,
little.
you can't do hands because that was the real part.
Oh yeah, you can do hand or maybe hold a fucking gun, something. But I don't know. It
They
made
don't
zero
have guns
sense.
in the 29th century.
No, they don't need them. They have Silverhawks.
Well, I mean, because that was the thing, is that like when they're flying forward and their arms are back, like their shoulders are the thing that's like facing forward.
Yeah, but it's
I don't
still
know
it's just
why-
the
I love-
oddest.
I
It's the
love
oddest
that.
little thing.
I
It's a
don't- I
little
don't know why-
triangle. It's like a piece of a Trivial Pursuit puzzle that like it's no bigger than that. It's a tiny little fucking triangle that shoots triangle lasers. It just makes no sense. Outfit them like Centurions or something. Give them something to work with here. They've just got these tiny little lasers that don't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do nothing.
Hey, you know what does everything? The fucking warbirds. Can we talk about them for a bit? 'Cause
Guns.
I
Oh, yeah.
I love the warbirds. The warbirds
Yes.
are like everybody's got their own bird. We're introduced to Tallyhawk first because he actually belongs to Commander Stargazer. He flies in, he lands on Stargazer's gold arm, and then basically Stargazer just kind of like gives him over to Quicksilver, like, hey, it's your bird now. But Tallyhawk
Does
awesome.
he give him over, or does Tallyhawk just be like, I've had enough of this shit? Like, I'm going with this new hotness.
I don't know, man,
I'm gonna,
because
jump, I'm gonna jump on Quicksilver's arm.
dude, I don't know because Tallyhawk is the shit. The rest of these idiots,
Yes.
they can shoot their little triangle lasers in the face, and they can have their little arms freeze off, but they're terrible. They don't do anything. Tallyhawk is the best. I mean, unequivocally the best. They send this bird out. He's a spy satellite. He's a war machine. He does recon. He can do communication. He's basically indestructible. We were talking offline, like, why would you make the Silverhawks? Why not make just legions of these things and just send them out to do whatever?
Why don't you
I think it's a great idea.
Why don't you send a bunch of just like robotic murder hawks
Yeah. Ooh,
out to
Murder
control
Hawk.
the murder hawk?
I love it.
Like just out into the space to fight the mob and just to have them just clean up the galaxy.
Yeah.
Like I just
I would watch that reboot. They never need to talk. The Hawks can all just like fly together. Hey, guess what? They actually look like Hawks. They're Silverhawks that look like their name. I love Tallyhawk. He, in the space of like 5 minutes, they not only so in the second episode, Monstar and his cronies ride their space squids and their like space motorcycles, which all have Monstar's head on them as a hood ornament, by the way, which I did not understand whatsoever. That's very odd
look
to me.
if you are what is he, a quintillionaire?
He's a quintillionaire.
If you're a quintillionaire, you got to show that off.
That's
like,
true.
You got money to spare. I was a quintillionaire. Guess what? Everybody's car would have my head as a hood ornament.
Sean's head just screaming and shooting laser blasts. I would buy that car. I would buy that car. Yeah. But yeah, so these guys are all approaching Hawk Haven. The Silverhawks are basically just scared shitless at this point. So Quicksilver literally just takes Tallyhawk and flings him outside. All right? Tallyhawk, you'd think would just like be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's not cool. Like, there's this whole army of mob bosses out here on space squids and motorbikes. What am I gonna do? Oh, I'm just gonna tear shit up. I'm just gonna destroy everything. He takes out like 2 or 3 of the mob guys. They start fighting. He circles around, and they're like, maybe you should call him back now before he gets his ass kicked. And they call him back in. He takes these guys out. He crashes into Skyrunner. They both like go down in a spiraling like a death spiral. It was awesome. And then he comes back later on and saves the day again. It's like this bird is the best. He deserves to be in charge of everything from now on. I don't care if he can't talk. Doesn't matter. He's better than all you put together. Did you guys feel the same about Tallyhawk, or is it just me?
No, I did. I mean, I really felt like a majority of the actual like Silverhawks were pretty useless, and I'd say the most useless is Copper Kid.
Oh boy, we didn't even talk about this shit. I don't even. You guys get into him. I don't even want to talk about him. I mean, I do for the show, but
I mean, like, here's the thing, this is like, like, Copper Kid, all right,
is a fucking Dairy Queen dessert.
he is he is he is from the planet of the mimes.
He's a
And if
butterscotch
you're just
sundae.
like, and if you're just like, oh my God, Planet of the Mimes, there's a Planet of the Mimes. I would like to know more. Guess what? Nope.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, are you the last
you
of your
get-
kind? We don't know.
Yeah.
Why are you
Like-
like a full robot mime with these Silverhawks? Like, we didn't create you. We just kind of recruited you.
Nope.
Are you an orphan? Like, why are you hanging out with these fucking weirdos? Something's off here.
Everybody else, every other Silverhawk has an actual human name. I don't think that the Copper Kid has a name.
No, just Copper Kid.
He's Copper Kid.
They
Like,
even
he's
say,
always-
like, yeah, he's not an Earthling. He's not a Terran. He's apparently some sort of mathematical genius. That's
Right.
it. There's no, like, I don't know. There's no history.
Now,
If you
hang
think
on,
you're-
because
if you-
I gotta jump in on that mathematical genius
Do
bit
it.
there real quick, because at the end of the first episode,
Yes.
Bluegrass is quizzing him on the names of the planets in the solar system.
Yep.
And he was literally like, hand on the chin thinking about Mercury and Earth. So if he is a mathematical genius, all of his chips are on that bet. And the rest of it is just absolutely
garbage.
shots in the dark.
Well, come on, man. Can you tell me the nearest planet in the solar system of the planet of the Mimes that orbits their twin star? No, you can't, because no one knows what the fuck it is. So they're quizzing
You know
this
why?
kid.
You
Yeah.
know why?
Why?
Because they introduced a great idea and then they provided zero fucking
Zero
history
background.
about that
Yeah.
idea.
No, so he's kind of like, it's not even like a PSA, like Matt was talking about. It's like Bluegrass teaches these lessons to the Copper Kid, but they're the laziest lessons ever. He's basically like, let's name 2 planets. Okay, I'm tired. That's enough for today. You got 6 points. The end. It's like, why
Yeah,
even bother?
If he would have been like, Copper Kid, since you're a mathematical genius, if you want to go ahead and calculate, the orbit of the Earth around the sun
Yeah.
and its eventual, descent into the sun, where will the Earth be in 4,500 years? And the, Copper Kid just whips that shit out. I'm going to be impressed.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
he's struggling to get Mercury and Earth, I've got deep concerns about the structure of this team.
Well, guess what? It gets worse in the second episode because Copper Kid is learning to fly, apparently. He can fly by himself just fine, like in space, but he can't fly a spaceship yet. So he's in like this...
He can't fly the Mirage.
He can't fly
yeah.
the Mirage, right? Which no one should because it's fucking worthless.
Yeah, hey, hey, Dave, I need to learn how to fly a coffin. Oh, great. I got just the thing for you to get behind the wheel of.
I want to fly a coffin, but one that can camouflage itself and disappear for no reason. Do you have anything like that?
A camo coffin.
Yeah, you got a
Sounds
camo
like
coffin?
A lot of fun. Yeah.
You have this year's model camo coffin?
Jesus.
I hope, guys, when I die, bury me in a camo coffin, please. However you figure that, I don't care. But camo
But
coffin.
Dave,
We're gonna.
Yeah.
how will we see it?
I don't know, buddy. You'll never find me. And neither will the vampires, which is what I worry about.
I just figure we're just gonna launch into the sun.
Ah, boy, launch this show into the sun. So we're coming up. We're coming up on about an hour. Do you guys have anything,
right.
anything else from the show before we move
Yeah,
on?
I have some questions.
Shoot.
What did they do with the other 95% of a human body that was a Silverhawk before they
Yeah.
them into the Silverhawk body?
Hey, have you ever
Like-
seen Soylent Green?
Oh no.
Just give that a watch. Completely unrelated to your question, but I figured just give it a watch.
just plug another movie.
Just plug in some Heston. Yeah, it's
Hey,
good
you
stuff.
guys, you guys ever watch Iron Man? Yeah, just give that a watch.
Yeah, just give that a
Pretty
watch.
good.
This would be like if
Fun
Iron
episode.
Man, if like Tony Stark built his suit and was just like, do I do 2 gauntlets? Nah, just the one is fine. I'll just leave this arm just dangling out in the breeze. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
the whole thing. That's gaudy, ostentatious. I don't know.
So Dave, you think that those body parts are like scrapped and used for food?
Oh yeah, they're
Matt,
totally ground
any
up and
idea?
just spiced. Yeah,
Nice.
well spiced, well spiced, well seasoned.
Matt, do you have any thoughts on what they do with the body?
Well, I've got to tell you, the kind of frog-looking dude that launches the combat drone at the end
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
first episode,
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yep.
that there's, maybe a black market organ trade with
Ooh.
other people. You know, I mean, it's
We do
it's
eat a
not
lot
like
of frogs'
they're gonna
legs
need
here.
those organs.
Yeah, we eat a lot of frogs' legs.
Exactly. It's reparations.
So. Oh, for the
no.
frog people.
Oh boy.
Yikes and a half. I do have one more little tidbit from this show. Guess what, guys? It's not enough just to make the original team of Silverhawks. There were new, what's affirmative action Silverhawks? Let's put it that way.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They're
these
to
are
best.
Great.
Yeah.
The names on these guys are the best.
Go ahead.
So.
What do you got? I know my favorite.
You have. Well, I think we have the same favorite.
You think so?
Mine would be the Gold Silverhawk.
Yep, that's the one. Let the people know who he is.
Because if you could not, this is the, like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm about to explain this,
Yep.
and I feel white guilt in saying it.
That's
okay.
That's
Like,
what happens.
it is a
I don't
gold
feel any
silver.
white guilt.
Yeah, you don't feel Matt. You never feel.
You don't feel
anything.
any kind of
That's
guilt.
amazing.
Neutral
You don't
guilt.
feel
Nope.
any
Nothing.
Neutral guilt.
And that's why I sleep so easy.
That's true. It's true. He does, like
So-
a babe.
So jealous. They introduced a gold silverhawk that is an African American.
Oh yeah.
Mid-season, so like in like 33, 34
Yeah, a
era.
month's worth of episodes.
African American silverhawk named
There it is.
Hot Wing.
Oh boy.
Oh, and if you were just be like, oh, what were his cool things or attributes that he had? Oh, he's a magician.
Yeah. He's a magician, folks. He's a space magician.
He is an African American space magician
Named Hot Wing. And he's gold, as if he wouldn't stand out from the Silverhawks enough. They're like, nope, you're gonna be gold. Can't be a Silverhawk.
They're not really silverhawks. They're just gold hawks.
Gold hawks.
Like it's oh boy.
Now, who
Well,
is
you know,
who is
That brings up an interesting situation.
Yeah.
To an outside observer,
Oh, boy.
would you not think that the Gold Hawk was the leader?
I would think that.
He's made of gold.
Yeah.
I would think
I would
so
think,
too.
and he's got crazy magic tricks. He made that.
Right.
He made that.
It's a
Monstar
more
disappear.
precious metal.
Yeah. I think once you get to the point that you're colonizing space and dominating different planets, precious metals, gold's probably not on the high end of things. You're looking more for your like your deuterium and things like that, things that can fuel your. Anyway, I'm getting way off base here. Backing it up. Who is the comedian that says that? And forgive me for this. Who is the comedian that says that black people are just always amazed by magic tricks? Because that is the first thing that I thought of when I found out that Hot Wing was a magician. There's.
I don't know.
Oh my God! I'll see if I can find it. I'll post it on the site. But there's like, I don't know if it's like a Tumblr page of just black people reacting to like kind of mundane, simple magic tricks, and it is the most delightful thing you'll ever watch. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. I had one more
Shoot.
thing, and this is like I guess this is like a larger idea that kind of goes beyond Silverhawk. Is like, so I've been kind of like thinking about, and like I'm gonna put this out there, like when we watch future shows, and you can apply this to any of the previous shows, is that I've been looking at a lot of these like theme songs. Like, you know, when we watch these shows, these theme songs really get stuck in our head that week, and like we text message each other lyrics to these theme songs like as a joke, because we're laughing about it in our heads. Like a lot of these things are very memorable.
Right.
So I've been looking at a lot of these theme songs as sort of like let's say like a promissory note to the viewer of the things to come while watching that show. In some cases, it's sort of like a reminder of the specific characters and sort of some of their attributes or their specific traits that you'll see that come across. In other cases, it's just kind of crazy. You know, and I think the reason I was thinking about this, I was kicking around this idea last week because when we were watching Street Sharks, do we all remember what like the first two lines were in the theme song?
Oh man.
Which is just simply they fight, they bite,
Oh, right.
they're street sharks. I'm like applying this like idea of this sort of like of the theme song being a promise. Street Sharks completely like fulfilled
Yeah,
that
they did. They
objective.
weren't lying.
That's all they did. Like
Fighting and biting.
If that really is like, you know, the writer and the show's kind of like, hey, this like we're bringing you in, now you're in. This is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like Street Sharks hits it out of the fucking park. All right, like it is great because that's all they do. They just punch stuff and they just bit everything, and that was it. That was the whole show.
It's true. They were
You know,
they
I
were there to
think-
kick some serious tail, if I remember correctly.
Or Finn.
Was it Finn? Was it Finn? Okay.
Yeah. They were trying to kick
Oh, to
Finn.
win.
To win.
To win.
Good God, that got dramatic.
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah. Well, no, because they had a complete intonation change where it goes, "They're here to kick little Finn to win," and it got like a creepy like diddler voice.
Got real
all of a
dark,
sudden,
real dark
like,
and diddly.
Yeah, real dark. But like I was trying to apply this like the same idea to Silverhawks, and I mean I think in some case like it makes it's maybe like a 50-50 for me. Like I mean to kind of go back and I guess to kind of like segue into like wrapping this up, like I would recommend Silverhawks.
Oh, definitely.
I would definitely recommend watching it, but it's very hard like when the theme song introduces like this idea of rainbow in the night, and then there's absolutely
There's never any
no-
rainbows.
there's no rainbows. They're in perpetual night because they're in deep space. Like their circadian rhythm is totally fucked. All right, but I think just like they really kind of hit at the same thing that like Dave said, they hammer home the entire time, partly metal, partly
Oh, the
real,
whole time.
and like it really just reinforces it, and so it's fun to see those little tiny nuggets kind of like come through like repeatedly, because over the 65 episode run,
Are they
like,
silver nuggets?
they're silver nuggets.
Yeah.
Because over this 65 episode run, like they are really their overarching mission is to fight this space mob, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
Fun.
and I will say I was a little bit disappointed that in 65 episodes fighting a mob, there was never a drug episode.
I was wondering about that. I didn't get to look into it, but
I did some research.
No space drugs.
I was real pissed off. With
Oh
this
man,
one.
no space drugs.
But I mean, I just so the next time you think about a lot of like the memorable theme songs that we've listened to or that we have yet to listen to,
Yeah.
and just think about like how the promise that they make and whether or not that promise gets fulfilled in the show.
Fair enough.
Because
And
because what I want to postulate is
Yeah.
that the more time and the more energy that they put into the specifics of the theme song, the better the show, I believe, in my opinion, turns out.
interesting. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that one because there are some. Ooh, I really would like to go back and revisit some of these now and see if that holds up. We'll see. You tell us your thoughts, dear listeners. Matt, do you recommend Silverhawks, second part of our Rankin Bass series?
Yes.
Short and
Begrudgingly,
sweet.
and I'm 51% on this. It's so like it's 80s cheesy chic.
Yeah.
In the Thundercats sort of way.
Yeah.
So, and also, it kind of reminded me of like a lot of the Harmony Gold USA 80s anime series. Like the animation
Yeah.
on this really looked like Lensman, like a lot.
Okay, I
So,
don't know that.
it kind of has that draw. So if that's your animation style that you like, definitely check it out. If you're looking for story here, you're going to be sorely
Ooh,
disappointed.
yeah, there's not much. There's not even a lot of character, which is why I like Thundercats. Like, yeah, they were tropes, tried and true. And, I mean, they were very just, like, two-dimensional. But you always knew what you were going to get. There was always, like, a lesson. These guys just kind of bumbled around and shot triangle lasers into nothing.
Well,
Maybe if we gave it more of a chance and watched more episodes, it would have been better. But, yeah.
I think kind of like Rankin Bass kind of fell into that like problem
Yes.
with like the movie Multiplicity, where like a copy of a copy of a copy
Right.
just progressively gets worse. So like Tiger Sharks
Oof.
was the worst because it was like 2 copies down.
You got to take
This
the
was the
blades
first-
out of their razors, man. You got to...
Oof, yeah.
Otherwise,
So,
they're going to...
I
Oh,
mean,
they
this is
actually
the-
rode a dolphin. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Multiplicity, so... They're going to eat a dolphin?
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's dolphin.
We're
So,
going
like,
to pet a
it's just-
dolphin.
It's one of those things where like this being the first copy of something that was a successful hit for Rankin Bass, you
Yeah.
can kind of see, like Matt said, there are a lot of glaring problems with the show.
It was basically like they cut their budget in thirds or just to ribbons. I don't know what they did, but I mean, good ideas.
Nuggets.
Like I said earlier in the show, I liked that this idea existed and that somebody gave it a chance and somehow produced 65 episodes of this. I would like to watch more of it, so I'm gonna say I'll recommend it as well, just to go out there and watch it. If you haven't at all, it's definitely worth a watch just to check out because it's partly metal and it's partly real. Yeah, you can also Rule 34 it, which we mentioned, if you want some real action. I got nothing. All right. Speaking of plugs, I'll turn it over to Sean.
Oh,
gross.
That was good. Hey, I am gonna be doing some improv in the DC area, October 17th, 24th, and 31st. All shows are at 7:30. I'll be performing with a group called Nox. That's Nox exclamation point. We're doing a Halloween themed show.
Cool.
For Washington Improv Theater. You can find and purchase tickets at WashingtonImprovTheater.com.
Cool. And we will have all that information up on our show notes. Matt, do you have anything coming up in the next week or so?
No.
No, nothing for you. Well, as for me, there are some fine and dandy TV shows on the tube right now. Good fall TV slate going on. You can check out some reviews of, Gotham, The Flash, Arrow, The Walking Dead, and upcoming Constantine shows over at Collider.com. I'll be reviewing each of those shows each and every week. So come check me out. It's Collider.com. Let's see what else we got going on today. I think we got some news. I might have teased this.
We got some really big news.
Yeah, we got some really big news. I teased this on Twitter earlier today for you people that followed along. Remember a little bit ago when we were really excited to be on iTunes? We got our podcast up on the Apple iTunes, available to all you iPhone listeners out there. Well, guess what, kids? There's more than one podcast pro in the game. We are now available on Stitcher.
Stitcher.
So that's cool stuff.
Nice.
We just got that, as of me signing on to talk to these guys about the podcast. We just got that approval, so I've got to look through it a little bit, but we will have our link up and live when the show goes live in our show notes. So if you got an Android phone and you don't like that Apple shenanigans, you can check us out on Stitcher. As for other places you can find us, you can start with SaturdayMorningCartoons.com. That's our homepage. Lots of cool stuff up there. Some retro cereal commercials, and we got our theme songs that Sean mentioned earlier. We also have a handy-dandy character guide each and every week for you guys to get to know these folks on the shows before we talk about them. If you want to be like our super fan Jason from Wisconsin, who gave us a lot of really, really quirky and crazy recommendations the last week and this week, you can email us at SaturdayMorningCartoons@gmail.com. Remember, morning's always with a U, because here at Saturday Morning Cartoons, it's all about you. I'm working on that catchphrase, guys. If you want to find us over at Twitter, you can find us at MorningTunes. If you want to check out Sean's handiwork on the Tumblr page, you can head to SaturdayMorningCartoons.tumblr.com. Speaking of Sean, he's got the pick for next week's podcast episode. So what are we going to be watching, buddy?
Oh, man. All right. So we watched Popples a couple weeks ago.
We did indeed.
As a departure to something different. So we're going to be doing something a little different this week. We're going to watch a Disney cartoon that was on the air from 97 to 2000. And just to give you an idea, she was too cool to be 12.
Oh, boy.
Next week, we are going to watch Disney's Pepper Ann.
I don't know anything about this, so I will find out with you, dear listeners. Boy. I could be pleasantly surprised. I like being pleasantly surprised. Could be fun. Pepper Ann.
You know what? I think you guys will hopefully be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I don't even know the theme song.
I remember watching this show quite a bit. There's a smorgasbord of well-known voice actors that are on this.
Cool.
And people that I think you'll at least recognize. And I think this should be hopefully somewhat relatable.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to it, if nothing else, to test out Sean's theme song theory, which is hard to say, but we're going to post that as well. So, I think that's it for us in Silverhawks today. A fair tallyhawk to you and yours, and we'll see you next time on Saturday Morning Cartoons. Thanks for listening.
Dave, Baron, we ride!